South Morenci Avenue in Mayo, or call 989-826-6521 to see for yourself why it's better with Block. All tax situations are different. Not everyone gets a refund. Limitations apply. See hr-block.com/guarantees.
Hi, folks. Jim Jeffries for Michigan Trailers in Traverse City, Northern Michigan's volume-leading utility trailer dealer. We have over 200 trailers in stock from America's top brands, including SureTrack, Impact, Cargomax, and now offering AirTow. All clearly marked at volume value pricing. Add to that full service, parts, plus accessories, and Michigan Trailers can solve all your hauling needs. See us today on US 31 South across from Menards, Traverse City, or visit us online at michigantrailers.com.
Good morning, Northern Michigan. Welcome to Friday Faceoff on Up North Sports Radio, brought to us by Cherry Capital Airport. Jerry Coyne live in studio with Chad Patterson and Rich Calkins. And I got a fever.
Yeah.
And the only thing that can cure it is another Lions victory.
Absolutely.
Gentlemen, are you enjoying this?
Oh, so much fun. I had tears, man. Tears and chills on Sunday night. That was I didn't think I would, and then it all hit me in 30 years. I mean, that's a long time.
It is, yeah. It was
over half your life.
Super cool. Almost exactly happened. Man, I tell you, it's incredible. And now, going into the season, my prediction was 11-6, and then I thought one home playoff victory would be good. Now, with the matchups, I want more, baby. I want more. So, and the matchup, I like the matchup.
I do too.
But man,
the only thing I don't like about the matchup is the fact that somebody said this, and it didn't even occur to me until they said it on a syndicated radio program, that the Lions are due for a huge letdown in this game. The amount of energy and emotion that was expanded in that game, there's no way it's not going to affect this team. And and great, we got Baker Mayfield all pissed off. So that was brilliant, C.J. Gardner-Johnson. Thank you so much for...
Right on brand, though.
For
He's
him.
done that his whole career.
Yeah.
I understand. So he better play great.
He better, absolutely.
Because,
that's the weakness of our team is that defensive backfield.
Well, they held up okay except for Puka. But and Baker is not Stafford, but the receivers overall... Tampa Bay has a better group of receivers than the Rams do.
So good.
And Tampa Bay is much better against defending the run. So the play calling, Johnson is going to have to be at the top of his form. And can the O&D lines get enough emotion going to play in this game? Now, maybe the home crowd will be full-throated enough to carry them through, but the first quarter is dangerous as far as I can see.
I agree.
Very dangerous.
And that blitz is going to be coming. They blitzed Jordan Love, or not Jordan Love, but they blitzed in the last game. What was it, like 57% of the snaps?
Hurts,
and that offensive line has to
I don't know if you know this or not, Hurts is a little bit more mobile than...
A little bit.
Just a little bit.
Yeah, we need, and Jared needs that clean pocket, as we know.
Yeah. So it's all going to be incumbent upon the running game to be effective, because play action does not work when you run for a yard and a half.
That's right. They don't care about the play action at that point. They're coming.
Yeah.
And, how about our special teams, how they really, Fox with the punting was phenomenal, and Badgley hitting that 54-yard field goal.
Huge.
That was, scary, because for most of the year, at that territory, Campbell's been going for it, and he brings out Badgley like, oh, man, please hit this. And he did. It was true, and so good for him to step up at that big moment.
When they're in that 50-yard field goal range, they have to wake the kicker up when it's fourth down. Well, they're like, he's not going for it. You got to get in there.
And the other super positive thing is, the success the Lions had in the red zone against the Rams.
Yes.
And, the Bucks are, at the very bottom of the league in red zone efficiency.
Yeah.
They hit big plays or they're kicking field goals. They do not have a power running attack at all. So, it's it's going to come down to Goff being clean, and if Baker has when they beat Green Bay a couple weeks ago, he had a perfect passer rating.
Oh man, yeah.
If he has that, we lose the football game.
Absolutely, he's capable of those big games, man.
Yeah.
He's done it.
Because
because
he wakes up feeling dangerous in the morning. So
He has one more playoff victory than Jared Goff. So I'm just saying, and
Jared Goff's been to a Super Bowl.
yeah, everybody's when you first saw the matchup, you're like, yeah, okay, we're going to the NFC Championship. Then I started thinking about, there's only about 27 guys on this team that have won a Super Bowl.
Yeah.
Right. That's exactly
And how many
right.
guys on the Lions have won a Super Bowl?
Exactly. And
I think it's one, and it's C.J. Gardner-Johnson, because I believe he was on the Eagles when they won in 2000. I could be wrong.
And stop.
Actually, he wasn't, because he was playing for the Saints.
Was with the Saints.
Yeah,
Yes,
yeah.
exactly.
So
prior to that.
the Lions do not have a Super Bowl champion on their roster. Tampa has 20 plus.
Yeah.
So
And stop telling me about the early season matchup that they had against them already. That
sure.
means nothing. It means absolutely nothing.
well, especially since Jameer Gibbs didn't play, Branch didn't play. I mean, the Lions were. David Montgomery got hurt, didn't play in the second half. But I think Vita Vea played in that game. I don't know. It doesn't matter. You're right.
No,
this
it
is
doesn't
a
matter.
totally
Yeah, forget
different
it,
other animal.
Throw it out
It is.
and forget it. But, man, how about the rookies, though, in that game? I mean, that was absolutely against L.A.
Yeah.
I
to
mean,
see
well, and-
Laporta to play as well as he did with that hyperextended knee, I thought that was just incredible.
yeah, Laporta.
Better athletics
Branch,
through chemistry.
Yeah.
Yep. Laporta, Branch, Jameer Gibbs, and Puka. I mean, we got to give it up for. I mean, that was
We
one
tend to
heck
give
of a
one
performance.
receiver every time. We tend
CeeDee
to give
Lamb.
up monster games. So, and if we can minimize that
Exactly.
them getting into the end zone with whoever it might be, a Justin Jefferson, a Puka, or what, we tend to give up one giant game every time.
Yeah,
Every
because
time.
Cup didn't really hurt us. Higbee was not a factor. In fact, Higbee got hurt late in
Yeah.
the game, and Atwell got us once. But I mean, really, it's and Robinson
Stafford
wasn't a factor
was
either. So good.
unbelievable.
The no looks.
Oh my God.
I'm sorry, and I love Jared Goff, but Jared Goff is not Matthew Stafford.
No, he's not.
No question about it.
I mean-
oh my gosh, that no look was just.
I mean, just if Stafford was in there now, the Lions would be pegged for the Super Bowl.
Yeah,
yeah.
that
You know,
is probably
but
true.
I mean,
Could've.
Goff played great. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
Goff played great, but Stafford played superhuman football.
Yep. Yeah, and it was, and when he went down, oh my gosh,
Oh,
what
he
what
was
his
out.
eyes did.
He rolled back. I
was-
thought
oh,
for sure
man.
He
was
got
out.
crushed, and then
good,
somebody
yeah.
stepped on him. I can't believe he didn't get a flag.
Yeah.
We did get after we got screwed on that first phone call, and I texted you
Yeah,
guys,
yeah,
and
the
I
first
go,
call, yeah.
and you guys are like, oh, we got screwed again. I go, this is going to work out perfectly, and it did.
They did.
Yeah.
They
With-
swallowed the whistle.
They swallowed the whistle
Yes,
after that because they could have easily called pass
like,
interference.
we don't
there
want
are there are still pieces of Puka's jersey in their hands.
Look,
right
they didn't
now.
want to be put on blast like that
Well,
other
and there
ref
was
crew
and-
from Dallas.
And there was 3 hits on Stafford that could have easily
absolutely.
drawn
they
flags.
definitely let them play.
Yeah,
no
there's no doubt.
question.
The other thing that was a really and the TV coverage. Who did the game?
NBC.
NBC,
NBC, right.
Tirico,
Yeah,
and-
Tirico and
Collinsworth.
Collinsworth showed how they kept Donald out. The way they double teamed him, and there was like anybody but Donald.
That's right.
Triple
Sometimes
teamed him at one
teamed,
point.
Yeah,
It was-
they're like you said. Yes.
That's showing a huge,
ABD. Anyone but Donald.
huge
Yeah.
disrespect for the rest of the
And-
LA
and-
Rams
and-
defensive line. We're going to use 3 guys on this one dude. That's a lot of respect for one
Vea
guy.
is not much of a pass rusher, but Devin White and the other linebacker are
But he eats up
Terrific.
enough of those offensive
my
linemen to
goodness.
where other people can get in there.
yeah, Montgomery. Who's our fullback?
Cabinda,
Yeah.
Jason
Yep, yep.
Cabinda.
He's going to be playing a lot.
Well, with that blitz,
That's
yeah.
what I mean.
Yep,
He's
absolutely.
great,
Yep.
and plus he's great at running that power attack. So if they're going to go off, try to run on this Tampa Bay defense, Cabinda is going to be leading the way. So it's going to be a very interesting game. This is not a slam dunk for the Detroit Lions.
Not at all.
And if
not.
I was betting, I'd probably take Tampa in the 6.5.
Yeah, the point.
Oh, absolutely, and that's what I've heard from all the all the syndicated betting shows and everything else. They're all taking Tampa with the points.
With
I mean,
the points, they
yeah,
like the Lions
yeah,
to win
yeah,
outright, but
yep.
it's not the spread.
6.5,
the
the big number in
the.
this game. I mean,
But
Well, it's the second smallest number in the weekend. You've got 2 9.5 point spreads.
yeah,
Yeah.
And in our game was the best game, a wild card weekend game
the rest of them
the
were
rest of them were
crap.
blowouts.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that was by far the most entertaining. And I saw it drew 32 million viewers, average 32 million, which was the second highest.
Well, the Cowboys
rated.
had 40 million.
Yeah, so it was just incredible showing it. And how about the fans there in Detroit? How loud they were. That was
Well,
incredible.
how huge are those 2 timeouts in the second half? I mean, that's the crowd right there. I mean, McVay had to use those 2 timeouts, and that was the difference in the game.
Speaking of the other games, we texted when we were watching the Cowboys and the Packers, and just it was so enjoyable until you got to the point like, what if we have to play Green Bay? I mean,
exactly.
San Francisco. This is going to be a fantastically entertaining football game. The Niners-Packers game.
It is going to be rainy out there. I was watching TV before I came in this morning, and they're forecasting rain out there. So see how that plays into the game itself.
Well,
Okay.
They got to be able to. I mean,
I don't
Green Bay's
see-
got to be able to run the ball. I mean, I think Aaron Jones is going to be a big factor in this game if Green Bay is going to win.
Well, I don't think there's very many comparisons between the Niners and the Cowboys. The
Yeah.
the Niners defense is going, it blitzes with intelligence.
Yep.
And they will be prepared for that game.
Well,
Yeah,
you were talking about some of the mistakes Dan Quinn was making early into the
Defensively,
game.
he played like 6 defensive backs on first and second down, like 50-some% of the time, and then so they just ran. So that leaves you 5 guys to play D-line and linebacker. So of course, what Green Bay do? They ran it right up their throat.
And plus, the Cowboys, the linebackers are completely undersized.
Yeah,
so
but
I
that
mean,
Bell kid,
we talked about
really
that
a
earlier in the
safety.
season,
He's
yeah.
like 205 pounds.
yeah, like
210.
the Niners linebackers are just slightly different. Warner and Greenlaw are
Warner's
just
pretty good. He's pretty good.
Slightly different. Yeah, Warner is like Micah Parsons on steroids with a brain, And both of these guys have had 2 weeks off.
Yeah. Rested.
Well, will they be rested or will
rusty,
they be a little
yeah.
bit rusty? Are the Packers, if they win the toss, they're going to take the ball again the first time? So, I expect McCaffrey to have a massive game. I mean, the Packers defense was good, but Prescott had his worst game of the year.
Yep.
Sure did.
And Dallas can't run the football.
No, they don't have any.
And I think the Niners know how to run the football.
They do. They've got real intricate blocking schemes
Yeah.
and how they're real creative and how they crease you, and it's just that's a fun offense to watch.
When you brought up the coin toss, Jair Alexander's not going to be dressed, is he? He's not going to play. So
Did he get
I don't
hurt
know.
again?
Yeah, he got hurt again. That's what I heard yesterday.
Well, that's
They
really
think
gonna
he's
help the Niners.
So yeah, absolutely. So I don't know if he'll come out for the coin toss or not, but he's not supposed to play. That's what I heard yesterday. So that's going to be a big
part of
loss
you
for them.
like to think, well, this could be a track meet. Well, it has the makings of it, but you also have the makings of the fact that the Niners could really house this offense.
Yeah, they have the ability to do that to most anyone.
And the other part of this is that, the Niners have played the Packers like 2 times in the last 4 years in the playoffs and throttled these guys. I mean, LaFleur and Shanahan are friends, and Shanahan knows way more about LaFleur's offense than I think the other way around. The other way around. So it's going to, I think all the matchups are pretty interesting. The Texans, I was really surprised at how bad the Browns played. I mean,
that was the biggest surprise. I
how
think
bad
of the weekend,
defensively,
actually.
how bad they played.
Yeah.
Right, exactly. And then Flacco had to try to make up ground and started forcing things, and things got away from him. But talk about having some young teams. Those guys coming into the year, the Texans were expected to be, for the most part, maybe a 4-win team, 5-win team, and good for them. Now
They don't know what they know.
That's
they're
right.
young. I mean, the Packers and the Texans are in the same boat. They just hey, they're young teams. They're going out and they're just having fun. And I mean, that's
I don't know how much
watch.
fun they're going to have in Baltimore.
So that is true. That is true. Well, I don't know if you heard that stat on You Better You Bet yesterday. I can't remember the exact numbers, but the numbers for teams that get a bye in the first week and then they have rested their starting quarterback in the last week of the season, their numbers against the spread are not good. They usually end up winning the game, but it's close.
Okay.
So that rust is going to be a factor. I think.
1,000,000,000% couldn't agree less. Because the biggest problem, the one thing people come out, Lamar Jackson's been no good in the playoffs. Well, he's only played 3 playoff games. And he's been really banged up in those playoff games, and he's going to be as healthy as he's ever been.
They seem to have done a nice job this year of keeping him healthy.
Yeah, I mean, I remember some of those playoff games he couldn't even run.
Yeah.
So
and if he can't run, he's in
trouble.
trouble.
Yeah. Well, except for, just being able to move around in the pocket, he doesn't have to scramble.
Right. Oh,
I mean, we saw that against the Lions. He only ran
11 seconds.
He can still fling
like
it.
This.
Yeah.
But, I mean, it's just,
That's all he's doing. He's dancing back and forth. That's all he's doing. But that comes with mobility. I mean, I know I'm just sidestepping, but that is like that. I mean, that's a big part of his game.
On paper, the team, the Browns versus the Ravens. I don't. Other than Myles Garrett, every single player that plays for the Ravens is better than any of their matchups for the Browns, and they're at home.
On paper, I think the Ravens have the best.
People are like, take the 9
team left.
Take the 9.5 for the Texans. Are you kidding? Look at the average margin of victory for the Ravens at home. They only had 2 games at home where they didn't win by more than 2 touchdowns.
Yeah. They've made good teams look silly at home. Lions being one of them.
Oh, yeah.
But the one thing Houston does have in its favor, they did play the Ravens already. They played them in the first game of the season, so they have a little bit of an idea of what
they know what they're facing.
But you've also got 2 weeks. They've had 2 weeks to rest up and watch the Texans play. But I would not bet. I would not take the Texans in the points. And then, of course, the other game should be epic. The Chiefs and the Bills. At
the Bills this time. So, another great match. That's the one that's going to close out our weekend, right? That's Sunday night.
Sunday night, 6:30. Should be epic. There's somebody online saying, the Chiefs are going to win because they just want to keep Taylor in as long as they can.
Yeah,
so
the NFL is choreographed, as Keith Gabe kept saying last week.
Well, you saw how choreographed it is.
Yes,
with the boat there.
Yes, exactly.
Now, my question is I don't know. The Buffalo's stadium is the smallest stadium in the NFL by far.
And they had
what do they have, like 7 suites?
Yeah, and right. And they had a lot of seating area where there still was 3 feet of snow in it that they didn't. So they lost all those seats.
Yeah,
but that should be shoveled out by this weekend, you'd think.
But is Tay-Tay? I mean, she can afford anybody. So like the owner's suite, hover over the stadium.
Buy one of those portable things and drop it down.
She's got enough money; she could do it. Yeah, absolutely. And then if she was someplace where the camera didn't cut to her every 5 seconds, that would be.
How about the 3 drops that Kelsey had in that game? All right in his hands.
Right there, yeah. I mean,
he made a couple other great catches.
He did.
And I think he had 85 yards or something like that. But man,
to see him play like that, you're not used to it at all.
It reminded me of North Dallas 40 and the one look that Nick Nolte drops that one pass that he keeps having the nightmare about, and I'm like.
That's how they end the movie. Like he throws it to him that last time, drops it on purpose. Yeah.
So and he says he's not retiring. He goes, I want to play more football, and I don't know if he wants to retire the same time his brother does.
Yeah.
But he is not. It's not the. Hopefully he has a great game. They're going to need for him to have a great game.
They are.
The Bills lost another couple guys on defense in that game, so it's going to be interesting. I mean, if Josh Allen plays like he did against the Steelers,
that run.
Oh my God!
That touchdown run was incredible.
Yeah, it looked like me when I was 27 years old playing against 12-year-olds.
I mean,
he's so big.
He did look huger than everybody else, and it helps that Watt's not on the field. But yes, I mean, he and I think Watt
was like Andy
Reid.
It was like Andy Reid in the punt, pass, and catch.
Yes, exactly.
He did. He looked, and you knew right when he made that one step back and then go that he was going all the way. I mean, it was just a great play.
Their ability to run now, because for the longest time, Buffalo, they couldn't run.
Well,
couldn't
James
run.
Cook
And
is-
now
yeah.
they're running like crazy with Cook, and so
And
this
Allen.
is a whole
Yeah.
nother team now.
Oh, by the way, Dalvin Cook
Just got-
is going to be running the ball for Baltimore.
The Ravens, yes, that was.
So you've got Gus
Oh, man.
or
Yeah.
him.
I'll take Gus.
that's
and-
a little thunder lightning.
No, I'm talking, but you're talking about a guy that's only ran the ball like 25 times all year. Talk about your fresh legs at this time
Fresh
of the
legs,
year.
but-
There's one thing about getting a week off, right? There's another thing for not having any bruises. Nothing wrong. You
Right.
don't even have to get in the frickin' cold tub.
Because he's
Watch
been-
the hell out.
Right, so he's been on the practice squad for a while, it's getting in shape, running, making sure he's ready to go, and I did notice that.
I expect huge things from him.
Really?
I really. This is Donovan Edwards. Donovan Edwards
that's
update.
true.
I'm
Yeah,
just telling you.
I mean, that was
Look
a great
the-
call. You
look-
both called that. before
Look the
national
hell
championship.
out
I don't-
for
Dalvin Cook. All right.
Dalvin Cook,
Okay.
because look, on top of everything else, he's thinking, well,
He's got to prove himself.
we could be in the Super Bowl, and I'd like to be able to deserve my ring, not just get it, because I was at the end of the bench.
And a contract next year. I
Yeah.
mean, he's playing for that.
well, he's
too,
only
so,
29
yeah.
years
Yeah.
old.
Yep.
And how wild would it be? There's an outstanding chance that Buffalo's
Brother and
playing.
brother,
yeah, I mean, so
there's
just a
defi-
nice, interesting subplot.
Definitely motivation there.
Interesting,
Absolutely.
yes.
Well, sometimes I took this job for a reason because I own the radio station. That's why. Anyways, so the. What they call this? It's not Super Wild Card Weekend. What do they call this? This is the divisional playoffs.
Yeah,
They don't have a fun name for this one.
Divine divisional. What's wrong with the alliteration? Come on, NFL,
Yeah,
step
come
it
on
up.
now. Right.
But anyways, you'll be able to listen to the Lions game. Kicks off at 3 o'clock on Sunday. Pregame is at 2, and of course that'll be at Q100 Michigan, and so. A lot of people, I know this, Rich, you do it. Listen to the game, turn the volume off. Yeah, I mean,
Yeah. Sometimes, Dan Miller does such a good
He's so
job
good.
in
So
describing the game. It makes you feel like literally you're there at the game. He does a
thank God they brought T.J. Miller in. God bless
T-
Lomas
T.J.
Brown.
Lang.
Lang,
T.J.
yeah.
Lang,
T.J.
yeah.
Lang,
Yeah.
Sometimes Lomas,
Dan.
by the time he gets the Dan out there, it's another play coming up.
He does. He does, though, have an interesting insight at times when,
Yeah,
especially when
he's-
they're talking about the trenches.
He's such a nice
It's like,
guy,
yeah,
too.
and he's
There's
such
no
a-
doubt,
such
but
a
I'm
good
just
dude.
telling you.
Yep.
No, I know. I get it.
Yeah. Anyways, we will be back after these words from our fine partners on Up North Sports Radio's Friday Faceoff, brought to us by Cherry Capital Airport. Let's check out Destination NFL. It's time for Destination NFL. Kevin Klein from Cherry Capital Airport, grinding down to the end of the season. The biggest game of the year, Buffalo heading down to Miami.
They're going head to head, and it's going to
yeah.
be dramatic. But TVC gets you down there through Punta Gorda. It's a couple hours away,
Right.
But you can get down there for less than $300. It's around $274.
And you get into Hard Rock Stadium, which is maybe the coolest football stadium, at least on the East Coast.
Very true.
And you can get in for $250. So trip down to Miami, see a great football game, maybe spend a day on South Beach.
Flying Allegiant gets you down there nonstop, and then our DC connection with the big game that's out there.
The Cowboys playing in Washington. I've got a funny feeling about this game. I don't know if the Cowboys are going to lose or not, but this is going to be a football game.
Well, that's $336.
Yeah.
Round trip. Flying
And you can
Delta
get into the
35.
stadium for less than $100.
So why not?
Spend a little time in the nation's capital. There's a lot to be said about how cool Washington, D.C.
Yeah.
And we just want to announce that, the NFL season is coming to an end, but we've had so much fun doing this that we're going to morph it into Destination NHL. We're going to have some wings trips to put together, and we've got one big trip that we're going to roll out today. TVC getaway to LCA.
We're going to go in, and the first part of the day is with the Red Wings, and then the last part of the day is with the Pistons.
Right,
And
they're
so
both
it's a
playing on the
doubleheader.
Yeah, the doubleheader at Little Caesars Arena. So you see the Wings play at noon, the Pistons play at 7, Going to fly out of Traverse City. Kevin's going with you. So you're going to get the first-class treatment at the airport. Flying down to DTW. We got a 2 nights hotel stay right downtown. And then you're going to fly out on Sunday.
And head on back.
One lucky winner. We're going to be able to register you through your website or Q100 Michigan's website. Somebody's going to have a blast.
They're going to have a great time. And it'll be a blast for all of our opportunity for all the listeners to be able to, 1, partake in flying down, 2, get some great professional sports.
Yeah.
It's to be part of an amazing season.
Little Caesars Arena, if you haven't been.
Absolutely.
So you're going to get to see it in both of its setups. Both professional hockey and professional basketball. If you haven't been there in a little bit, downtown Detroit has really changed.
Downtown Detroit is reviving. It's fun to be down there. The food in Detroit has changed significantly.
Fantastic.
It's awesome. Everything around the arena is just amazing.
Yep.
And the investments, the cleanliness, the ballparks that are there. I think Detroit, when you start to say, how is it rebuilding? Sports is one of the best anchors to be able to do it. So very exciting to see that and looking forward to this opportunity to spend a day at LCA. TVCairport.com.
There you go. Kevin Klein with Destination NFL, soon to be Destination NHL.
It's time to get away to your dream destination. Beat the winter and fly TVC to Sun and Sand. Looking for your spring break getaway? Book today. Allegiant, American, Delta, Sun Country, and United are getting you where you want to go. Visit TVCairport.com for up-to-the-minute flight schedules.
Listen, do you hear that? That's the sound of wide open spaces at Shanty Creek Resort in Bel Air. The sound of laughter coming from the Alpine Tubing Park. The sound of splashing in the pool. The sound of shushing down Shush Mountain. Here we go outside to play. When it's time for you to enjoy the wide open spaces of northern Michigan, Shanty Creek will be there to welcome you with over 275 lodging options, 42 downhill ski and snowboard runs, and plenty of outdoor fun in Bel Air and online at shantycreek.com.
The Traverse City Record Eagle supports WCMU Public Radio in Traverse City with Total Access Record Eagle subscriptions. Total Access means home delivery of the printed paper, plus on-demand access to local and breaking news and other community publications online or on the app. Find out more at record-eagle.com/subscriptions or call 231-946-2187. That's 231-946-2187. The Traverse City Record Eagle proudly serves 13 counties in northwestern Lower Michigan. The threat of cyber attacks is on the rise. It's never been more important to have an IT expert to secure your company's data. Dunn's Business Solutions is part of a large IT security company, Visual Edge IT. Call Dunn's today and gain peace of mind. Dunn's is also your expert for office furniture, copiers, technology products, and phone systems. Head down the road to data security when you call Dunn's Business Solutions in Gaylord or visit michigan.visualedgeit.com.
Welcome back to Friday Faceoff on Up North Sports Radio, brought to us by Cherry Capital Airport. Jerry Coyne, live in studio with Rich Calkins and Chad Patterson. And I didn't know where I was going to go, but you were talking about Michigan State.
Yeah. 2 wins in a row.
Yeah, they still have are they 500 now?
Yeah.
What are they, 9-9?
It's inconsistent at best. That is for sure.
Yeah. Is the Grayling head coach running on the bench?
No, it's no. I think that they're looking up though. I mean, they beat Minnesota. They're going to get into the tough part of their schedule.
Yeah, they got 4 tough games coming up.
So it's looking pretty rough. Right now, but
not as rough as U of M basketball, but will.
No, wait, but I digress. But but Michigan State will. I think at the end of the year, they're going to be right there. They're going to have probably a pretty high or a pretty low seeding in the big dance, but they'll be there. I think.
Big dance.
Yes.
Are we allowed to say that?
I don't know. I know we're not allowed to say
March Madness,
mayhem or whatever.
But,
Sunday they got Maryland on Sunday at Maryland. That's a tough game.
Tough place
Maryland's
to go in,
play.
win.
Yep.
Then they got to travel to Wisconsin. That's a loss. Then Michigan comes to Michigan State. They're back at Maryland, back at Minnesota. Wait till you start seeing the UCLA, who's having a horrible year. UCLA is in trouble this year.
That's next year.
Yeah.
Bring those teams in.
They don't play. They only play Purdue once, and
fortunate.
Yeah, for them.
Yes.
And it's at Purdue. So
what was it, a couple weeks ago when they played that tough Collins Northwestern team? I mean, in Northwestern, that obviously tough place to win this year, especially with Collins coaching. Great coach, and
Boo Buie is second team All American.
He kills the Spartans.
Well, he kills everybody.
I know,
yeah.
Just,
I think he's been there for
Spartans.
6 or 7 years. Yeah. He's one of those COVID kids who's will end up being the all-time leading scorer at Northwestern, never to be caught, no matter what the hell happens.
Who's the guy in football that just got his ninth year? Ninth year of eligibility.
I don't. But they turned down Tulia Taavola.
Right.
Yeah. So
ninth year of eligibility. That's he's got to be 65 years old.
I don't know
he
why.
He got a polio year. I'm like, I'm serious. He got a COVID year. He got a polio. I didn't even know that was a thing.
I'll tell you what. If you have the money and you have the lawyers to look into all the fine print, you can find it.
Polio.
You can find it.
Yeah, it's hard to make. This is a wildly inconsistent Michigan State team.
Yeah. Yep.
And it was kind of cool seeing Steven Izzo score his basket.
That was neat.
But then obviously a massive letdown. Because this is not a vintage Minnesota Golden Gophers team.
No, absolutely not. And I mean, the cream of the crop it's obviously Illinois and Purdue. They're the top of the heap. And I don't know if Michigan State can play at that level. They're going to be middle of the pack. But like I said, once Tom gets you into a tournament, whether it's the Big Ten tournament or the NCAA tournament, then
Michigan
we'll see what
State
happens.
is 3-4 in the conference. Yep. Putting them.
My prediction is they will have a winning record in the conference when it's all said and done.
Putting them ninth in the conference right now. Tied. Actually, there's a number of teams: Nebraska,
there are 82
Minnesota,
teams in the Big Ten now, so that does not mean that they're at the bottom.
Well, Michigan is at the bottom of the conference.
Yes.
Yeah.
So.
But they did get a good win against Ohio State, though.
Yeah.
With the Fab Five.
With the Fab Five
Fab
there.
Five,
the
all
Fab
in,
Five better be in the locker room for every game for the rest of the season.
Right. Yes, exactly.
Because they got their ass handed to them last night in the second half. They looked really good in the first half.
Against a good Illinois team.
Illinois is a very good basketball.
I will say when I saw the still photograph of that and then the guy sitting there, I was like, "Where's Juwan?" And I went,
right, yeah.
duh, yeah, he's on the bench, he's coaching. I was counting them off. I was like, oh, there's Ray and Jimmy and Chris and Jalen.
Wait, there's one missing.
There's one missing. I saw their first home game. That was my one. That's a great sports.
There's 5 teams
memory of mine,
at 3 and 4 in the Big Ten. So yeah, they got some of the things. It was shocking to me, guys, of how piss poor the college basketball schedule, TV schedule was the last couple of weekends on Saturdays and Sundays leading up to the football game. There was a couple of decent games this past weekend.
When they had that opportunity for all these people wanting to watch something, and they didn't take advantage of it.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Dickinson is playing really well for Kansas.
He sure is.
Did you see how much weight? He looks like he's lost like 12 pounds.
He looks quicker. He looks
faster, more determined. I guess you get an extra $1 million in the NIL, and it'll turn things around for you. But the Spartans have better pick it up.
I think they will. That's my prediction.
This is supposed to be the team that kept Izzo from retiring.
Yes. Yeah.
So it might be the one.
And Steven is out of the program, so it'll be very interesting to see if Izzo follows Krzyzewski and Boeheim, and all these other guys out the door.
You could. That would be the end of an era. That would be like not at the level of a Saban, but certainly really, really big, especially around East Lansing. That would be a huge loss.
Kid from Iron Mountain, Michigan.
It'll be interesting to see who would take his job, who would be the heir apparent, too. So.
Yeah, I couldn't tell you.
Yeah, I couldn't either. I mean...
I don't think they're going to do what the Judd and Izzo thing did, because he was his understudy there for years, and I don't know.
They thought Stevens might be
Stevens
it.
Has been there forever. Yeah. It's Garland.
Well, no, Stevens coaching Western Michigan now.
Yeah.
I mean, he could come back, but I don't know if anybody ever thought that Izzo was going to be a great coach. He was a lifer assistant, and generally speaking, that doesn't work out.
Nope.
It worked out for Roy Williams, but he had to go to Kansas to do it. Usually when you're the assistant for a long, long time and the big man leaves, I mean, it's working out okay for Shire at Duke, but, Duke is Duke.
Yep.
And
it's a brand.
But, it's a brand. And he had the number 1 recruiting class in the country last year. So, and they're playing pretty decent basketball. Filipowski is what people are saying, like the Pistons might end up getting this kid. I hope not. I don't know where that draft pick is going. And, this might be the year where, we have the worst record in the NBA. God, I don't want the first pick.
Yeah, exactly. Please get number 2.
Yeah, give me 2 or 3. Give me 5. Give me double shot of Zab. But, there's no sense in talk. That was our obligatory 45-second reference to the Detroit Pistons. So when we return, we'll talk about their partners at the LCA who are obviously the suddenly really hot Red Wings.
Yeah.
They're on the ice, but it's all about the snow. Lindsay is so busy over at Shanty Creek that she couldn't jump on the phone with us today, but it's been dumping snow all week. Over a foot of new snow in just the past day. They have 2 feet of snow in the last 5 days over at Shanty Creek. That means more runs and fresh lines for you this weekend. Our snowmaking team has been working so hard this weekend. They'll have all 5 lifts will be running. 5 lifts will be running. With all the new snow, the Pinecone, Winterbrook, and Poets Loop Nordic trails have been groomed and track set. And there's some fantastic Nordic skiing happening right now at Shanty Creek. We've also expanded our tubing park into 4 lanes, so reserve your spot online today at shantycreek.com. Hope to see you out there. Conditions are fantastic. It's going to be a beautiful weekend on the slopes. You can ski all the way Sunday up until the Lions game and then jump into Ivan's or one of the other locations, have a couple of drinks, and root on your Lions. So go to shantycreek.com for more information. Back after these words from our fine partners on Up North Sports Radio's Friday Faceoff.
Sports on the Michigan News Network.
When the Buccaneers come to town to face the Lions on Sunday, they'll have former Wolverine and Detroit native Larry Foote with them, who is their linebackers coach. And even though he's trying to end their run, Foote says that he is ecstatic for the city where his family still lives.
Yeah, I'm looking at the ticket prices, and I know the city is just on fire. It's going to be a great day, and I'm super proud. I'm so happy for the city, but, I'm trying to come in there and do a job.
Today is the final full day of practice for the Lions in Allen Park. A rivalry game on the ice tonight, Michigan versus Michigan State in East Lansing. They'll travel 65 miles and have a rematch tomorrow in Ann Arbor to complete the back-to-back. The Wolverines have won 3 straight. MSU is 9-0-1 at home. To the pros, the Red Wings are red hot. 7 straight games, earning at least a point. They'll try to make it 8 as they head to Raleigh to face the Hurricanes. Carolina won their first game back on December 14th, 2-1. Alex Lyon will get another start in net. Jake Wallman's status to be determined. Chris Villar, Michigan News Network.
Excuse me. I know you have a 9 o'clock, so I'll keep this short. I'm the business suit in the back of your closet. You wore me nearly every day before your office went, quote, casual. I used to be the CEO of your closet. Now I'm just that one intern no one ever talks to. I always thought you'd circle back with me, get granular, keep me in the pipeline. But nada. Nothing. Don't you remember the McKittrick presentation? You spilled coffee on me, and I still looked amazing during the breakout talkback Q&A. So, I think it's time for me to move on. I've got a great resume, and I absolutely crush it in interviews, okay? Let's make this a clean break. Shift the paradigm. The only thing I ask is that you think outside the box here and do this. Take me to Goodwill, where I can really make a difference.
Your donations to Goodwill create new jobs, training programs, and education assistance for people in your community. To find your nearest donation center, go to goodwill.org. Donate stuff. Create jobs. A message from Goodwill and the Ad Council.
Marriage isn't about tying the knot, it's about setting it in stone. If you doubt that, guys, ask any woman her thoughts on the issue. I'm Erin Collins of Hogan's Jewelers in Gaylord. The ring is a small but very significant detail in the uniting of 2 lives. If you get this part right, you're on a good path for the future. Hogan's has been a silent partner in more marriages than I can count because people soon realize we genuinely care about this big step in their life. Engagement rings, bridal sets, at Hogan's Jewelers, it doesn't have to cost a fortune. That word gets around from one bride to the next. Do we know more about diamonds than you? We'd better. It's our business and our responsibility as your jeweler. Plus, it's our mission to answer your questions and help you find the right ring for you, for your partner, and for your budget. We've just added a new line of breathtaking, beautiful, but surprisingly affordable bridal sets that I cannot find the words to describe. You just have to come in and see them. We're Hogan's Jewelers on Main Street, M32 in downtown Gaylord.
Friday Faceoff on Up North Sports Radio, brought to us by Cherry Capital Airport TVC. Jerry Coyne, Rich Calkins, and Chad, I'm not competitive Patterson.
Can I defend myself?
Well, no, look at, no, there's nothing. We don't have to bring up what we were talking about. But why would Matt Stafford continue to do what he does?
Yeah,
he's got the competitive heart. I mean, absolutely, and you could definitely see that.
Once you leave it, you're never going to get that back.
And look at the pounding that he's taken. There's got to be part of him that goes, "What the?" I take it in the shorts for 12 years here. Then I come back for the playoffs, and they just pound the crap out of me.
Right.
But it's nice to fall back on your $260 million. I don't know where he's at now.
Yeah.
I think he's in the $400 million range now.
Because he was the second to last quarterback to be drafted before they put.
And he's got his Super Bowl ring, and his wife survived cancer. And you're like, why wouldn't I just?
Yep.
Isn't it 4?
4 little girls.
Four girls.
Maybe,
I'm just saying, and. Why did Brady keep coming back and everything else? Because when you are absolutely the best, you and I had this conversation. Okay, why do the Rolling Stones still run out on stage at 80? Because there's
no
80,000 people screaming your names.
No
They're
high.
paying you a crap ton of money to do it, and nobody's tackling Mick Jagger.
Yeah, no.
So I'm just saying. But
no, it looks like it, but they're having.
I didn't think they'd have trouble. You'd have trouble catching Mick.
I probably would.
He'd be wearing that Philadelphia Eagles 21 jersey.
He would.
Exactly. He'd be going.
That would be quite the race.
Yep.
We admit.
Yeah. So, anyways, that's why. Because
they got that competitive heart.
Because nothing beats winning.
Nope.
Nope.
And you still feel that high and that's why a lot of those guys, I'm sure, stay in the business, stay close to the game, even after they can't play it anymore because they want to feel it.
I mean, some guys are certainly playing for money. There's no doubt about it. But even when you can't just play for money because you get your brains beat in.
Yeah.
So, anyways, I digress. But you brought up an interesting point, and I wanted to expound upon it. The Red Wings.
How about
6-1 in January?
We got to bring Keith Gave back because since Keith was here, man, they're on a heater.
No, that's it.
No more. No.
Sorry, Keith. Love you.
But
when you start getting gray hair, we'll bring you in. I don't like.
Yeah, no. What the heck?
Well, and it seems like Alex Lyon is the man. I mean, they've kind of made their decision, and he was in net for 5 out of the 6 wins. Reimer was in there for another one. He wasn't there for the 1 loss as well, but that was only a 3-2 loss to Edmonton, and it's Edmonton. So I mean, it's
I really like how Lyon played. Obviously against the Panthers the other night. That was an incredible win. To go into overtime and to Larkin to bury it in the back of starting off on a power play in overtime helps.
You think?
But still, it was Lyon though stood on his head. It really.
Hey, look at the Panthers are the best defensive team in the league.
Exactly.
They were in the Stanley Cup last year, so that's not chopped liver. And the funny thing is that when Keith was in here last week, pointed out, things are going to get real for the Wings, and they've won, all 3 of those games that he brought up.
The Maple Leafs, the Panthers, the Kings. I mean, those are teams that, especially the Panthers.
They got the Canes tomorrow night.
Yep.
Which you can hear right here on Up North Sports Radio, your home for Detroit Red Wings action on the radio. So, they've climbed back into the hunt. They're in third in the Atlantic Division now. So, I mean, they're still 10 full points behind the Bruins, but I don't know if the Bruins are going to be caught. But what does it matter?
Doesn't matter.
No, I mean,
get Keith brought it up again, and I should have called it out on him last week. Well, if they get in, they're just going to get in. That's all you got to do is get in.
Right.
The Panthers proved that last year.
They sure did.
Yeah,
exactly.
And you were talking about what your prediction was for the Lions. You said you wanted them to win 11 games, you wanted them to win a playoff game. They did. Now you're getting greedy. Well, all we really want as Red Wing fans is for them to get back into the playoffs.
Right.
We got used to it, and like you just said, hey man, get your ticket punched, see what happens, because they are a streaky team. If they're coming off a losing streak and they get into the playoffs, then that winning streak's going to start. Because that's what happens.
I think part of what Keith's psychology about this is that he was there when the Wings, it was ho-hum. They're in the playoffs again.
Right.
It's only a good season if they win the cup. It doesn't even matter if they go to the cup. You got to win the cup.
You got to win it. Exactly.
And so, with all the banners and all the cups, they made the playoffs. Well, guess what? If you don't make the playoffs, you got zero shot of winning the Stanley Cup. So,
that's right.
And how many cups should have the Wings won? They went in 3 different times as the favorite and didn't even make it to the Stanley Cup. So, there's nothing more chaotic or unpredictable as the Stanley Cup playoffs.
No
period.
question. Exactly. Because you've seen it a couple of different times where a team just gets in, but they're playing good hockey and they go a long ways in the playoffs. It happens quite a bit in hockey.
Well, it's way less predictable than the NBA playoffs usually. The Miami Heat doesn't happen every year.
There's no doubt.
Usually you can, 8 versus 1, well, we know what's going to happen there. But in hockey, you never know.
Yeah.
Yeah, and there was a couple of instances where a wild card team has made it to the Super Bowl. I think the last time that they won it was Aaron Rodgers' year, but even that doesn't happen very often.
Exactly.
Was one of the Roethlisberger teams
for Pittsburgh there?
I thought they were a wild
card.
I don't know.
Could have been.
I'd have to check.
But anyways, the Lions are poised here. The Packers, who knows? How amazing would it be to have an NFC Championship game at Ford Field?
Oh, my gosh.
That would be awesome.
That
would be awesome.
Yep.
I'm rooting for the Packers. It's I know you love your 49ers, but you got to be rooting for the Packers if you're a Lions fan.
No.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely.
No, but
you want the home game. That's all.
Okay, we can go ahead.
Well,
and
first of all, we
got
to get through Tampa Bay.
No, I'm just saying, but I brought this up last week. Now this Packers team is well ahead of schedule, and we've got holy crap.
Right.
Aaron Rodgers 2.0. What the hell?
Exactly.
How can you get 3 quarterbacks in a row like
It's
that?
it's an embarrassment of riches.
I don't think they're that embarrassed.
Somebody brought it up yesterday on a national show. They were saying, maybe it's Tirico. He was talking to Rich Eisen, and he said maybe this is truly the blueprint. Maybe you get a J.J. McCarthy and you say, you're going to sit behind
Hendon
this
Hooker,
guy.
baby.
Yeah, exactly.
Hendon Hooker, baby.
Hendon Hooker is a perfect example. You're going to sit behind this guy. You're going to learn, and then by the time we put you in, because, look, it's worked for – Favre was behind the Magic Man. Aaron Rodgers was behind Favre, and Love was behind Rodgers. They have shown it, and they've given you the blueprint. This is how it works. Granted, there was a lot of luck involved, I'm sure, and a lot of hard work, but it is proven to be true.
Good for them, those teams, to actually draft the quarterback and then have them sit and instead of falling for public, pressure to get that quarterback in. Get them in there right away. We got to see what they have. No, it's going to take time. They've got a lot to learn, and all of a sudden,
so this will be 30 years. Favre, Rodgers.
Love.
Actually, it's 32 years. The one thing is, yes, it's been an unbelievable run for the Packers. 2 Super Bowls to show for it.
That's true.
Just saying.
That's a good point. But they're competitive every year.
No, there's no doubt about it. And look what Green Bay Stadium looked like when Brett Favre first got there, and what the hell the thing looks like now.
Yep, absolutely.
It looks like the Roman Coliseum now.
Weren't they still playing a couple of games in Milwaukee?
Yes.
Once in a while?
They stopped that a while ago.
Right.
So, no, it's ridiculous, but... if you watch the McAfee show, I know you guys have started to watch it a little bit. The one guy that's in the booth, it's one of their producers, is a huge Lions fan. He's coming to the game, and he brought up Hendon Hooker. He's like, Hendon Hooker, baby!
Yep.
Don't forget about him. He had an unbelievable 2 years at Tennessee. and they're under no pressure to rush him in.
Well, it seems like a red shirt year. It seems like they've said
Well, he was injured for that. I mean,
he was injured, but
I think they put him on the practice squad at the end of November after Thanksgiving, if I remember correctly.
Because he fits that prototype. He's tall, athletic. Moves around in the pocket, will get you a few yards here and there. I liked him in college. He was probably the leading candidate to win the Heisman. Before he got hurt that year.
And that begs the other question. I guess we can wait about it until the Lions season is ended. Is this Goff has one more year on his contract? I
think
believe.
so, yes.
So they do not have to pony up the massive amount of money. You're hearing that talk about Dak Prescott.
Yeah.
He's a $59 million cap hit here, and you got to go to these guys. I mean, who would you rather have right now as quarterback, Dak Prescott or Jared Goff?
Jared Goff.
Yeah,
absolutely.
I'm just saying.
Yeah, I want the guy that won the playoff game.
Well, the Jordan Love ain't going anywhere.
That's for sure.
No, Jordan Love, they're going to lock him up.
I think they only have one more year on his deal, though. So the Packers are going to have to back up the Brinks truck there. And you see what happens with these teams. That's the formula. That's why the Bears have got to dump Fields and take Caleb.
Start that counter all over.
5 years.
I've heard about the counter a lot.
Very similar style of quarterback, but probably even better. I think so, exactly, because like you said, when you have that rookie contract or a smaller contract for a quarterback, it allows you to get the other pieces.
That's why the Niners in such a beautiful position.
Oh, exactly.
Not only, the last guy picked in the draft, so he didn't even get $6 million.
No.
I think he's making He's making less than $1 million. Brock Purdy is.
He's a telemarketer in his off time.
Yeah, right.
So that's why you could go ahead and get a McCaffrey and do all the things that who is the free agent they brought in this year? Chase Young.
Chase Young.
Okay,
exactly,
so
from Washington.
Yeah. If they have Garoppolo in there and he's making $47 million, Chase Young is not walking in the door.
Not at all.
So it's all interesting. It's funny how the economics in sports can affect everything, other than if you're the Dodgers. We'll be back after these words from our fine partners on Up North Sports Radio's Friday Faceoff, brought to us by Cherry Capital Airport.
Listen, do you hear that? That's the sound of wide open spaces at Shanty Creek Resort in Bel Air. The sound of laughter coming from the Alpine Tubing Park. The sound of splashing in the pool. The sound of shushing down Shush Mountain. Here we go outside to play. When it's time for you to enjoy the wide open spaces of northern Michigan, Shanty Creek will be there to welcome you with over 275 lodging options, 42 downhill ski and snowboard runs, and plenty of outdoor fun in Bel Air and online at shantycreek.com.
It's time to get away to your dream destination. Beat the winter and fly TVC to Sun and Sand. Looking for your spring break getaway? Book today. Allegiant, American, Delta, Sun Country, and United are getting you where you want to go. Visit tvcairport.com for up-to-the-minute flight schedules. The Traverse City Record Eagle supports WCMU Public Radio in Traverse City with Total Access Record Eagle subscriptions. Total Access means home delivery of the printed paper, plus on-demand access to local and breaking news and other community publications online or on the app. Find out more at record-eagle.com/subscriptions or call 231-946-2187. That's 231-946-2187. The Traverse City Record Eagle proudly serves 13 counties in northwestern Lower Michigan.
The five-man electrical jam. Tesla. Tesla. Coming at you live Friday, March 15th at Soaring Eagle Casino and Resort. Tickets start at $44 and on sale Saturday, January 20th at the box office and etix.com. Party hard, rock harder. Tesla. Friday, March 15th at Soaring Eagle Casino and Resort.
Hi folks, Jim Jeffers for Michigan Trailers in Traverse City, Northern Michigan's full-service utility trailer dealer. We're always happy to help you buy a new trailer, but maintaining yours is always a great option. Schedule a bearing repack at the discounted price of just $89 per axle, and our trained technicians will complete an overall inspection free of charge. Let us help you head off a potential problem today for trouble-free trailering tomorrow. Call for an appointment at 943-4007 or schedule online at michigantrailers.com.
The people you know, the name you you trust. North Central Area Credit Union. Integrity, service, and value, you can count on us. North Central Area Credit Union.
If you're feeling way down because your credit cards are maxed out, take the weight off with a balance transfer promotion with NCACU at 4.99%.
North Central Area Credit Union.
Federally insured by NCUA.
Welcome back to Friday Faceoff on Up North Sports Radio, brought to us by Cherry Capital Airport. Jerry Coyne in studio, Rich Calkins and Chad Patterson. And Chad asked the question, are we going to talk about coaches? Let's talk about coaches.
Absolutely. Well, I wanted to know your guys' opinion. We talked a little bit off air. I mean, obviously Harbaugh is the second biggest name out there because the greatest NFL coach of all time is also out there, which is just crazy. I mean, nobody's even talking about Pete Carroll. But where do you guys think Harbaugh is going to end up?
Well, like I said, I think he's going to stay at Michigan.
I agree, yeah.
If he's not getting enough love, enough attention, nobody gives him more love than the University of Michigan. It might not be, from,
Exactly.
I mean, Santa Ono would, have a
he-
sleepover every night of the week.
He does love him some Harbaugh.
But, the fan adulation, 116,000, it's the biggest stadium in football, regardless of pro and college. He's never going to get more say than what he had, because I don't think anybody in the history of the NFL going forward will even get what Belichick had.
No.
Because
That
that's why
ultimate control.
Yeah, that's why it ran off the rails, right? Yeah. And that's why probably Belichick did not go to Dallas. People don't know if that phone call was made or whatever.
Yeah, and we never will.
Yeah, probably not.
Yeah, because Jerry's not giving up the GM duties.
Yeah, but he's not winning another Super Bowl.
Yeah, I know. Well, that's the thing.
I really don't believe that.
I mean, Jerry. The most. Of course, it's the richest sports franchise in the world right now, and they just print money. But he's right now not willing to make that next step to actually get to back to the Super Bowl and try to win it because he gets comfortable.
He and Stephen Jones are not bad GMs. They've got a
they've done a good
talent
job
on there.
Absolutely.
Dak Prescott is a 4th-round draft pick.
Yeah. MVP candidate this year. Absolutely.
They've got that roster is loaded.
Micah Parsons. Yeah.
If they hadn't lost Van Der Esch and the other DB, that defense would be a hell of a lot. But I mean, everybody's dealing with injuries, so it doesn't matter. That's part of the game. But, they, for whatever reason, maybe those players are a little bit too pampered. Maybe that stadium is a little bit too nice. I don't know. Doesn't matter. They're still going to get all the women that they want in the world when they walk outside the locker room. Doesn't matter if they're 4 and 13. It's good to be a Dallas Cowboy.
Absolutely. America's team.
Yeah, that's right.
That's a brand.
So,
yep, absolutely.
Maybe ultimately that is the biggest problem. And the only person that can fix that problem, Harbaugh could probably fix that problem. Mm-hmm. Because Harbaugh gets you to play as tough as you possibly can.
Right.
Maybe Dan Campbell could come in there and be that guy. But Mike McCarthy doesn't inspire me.
No.
Mike, step away from the buffet table.
Well, it's not even.
He's elbowing the guys out from the post-game meal.
Right.
But it's not even that he's a chubby dude. I mean, Andy Reid is a buffet
no
table
doubt,
guy
yeah.
too, and he's a great coach. So it's not even that. It's just Mike McCarthy seems like a sad sack. He does not, like you said, there's no inspiration there at all. And when he was asked yesterday, we talked about this before the show. I mean, when he was asked by the reporter, how are you going to get us to buy in? I mean, here you are. You've had 3 12-5 seasons, and you can't win a playoff game.
But Arlovsky brought it up. They're 16 and 17 in those 3 12-5 seasons against teams with winning records.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Everybody's like, there's
real.
no way Dallas is losing at home to the Green Bay Packers. Oh, really?
Yeah.
They're 1-9 against the Green Bay Packers in Jerry's world in the playoffs.
And by the way, they lost
1-9.
That's wild.
The Packers have more playoff wins in Jerry's world than the Cowboys do. Explain this to me.
I can't.
Because this is Green Bay South.
Yeah.
Well, we heard JC's opinion. Where do you think Harbaugh goes, Rich?
Oh, I don't. You know, he's waiting. You know, he's still trying to work out certain language that if he does come back to Michigan, he does not want the athletic director to be the sole person that could possibly fire him if there ends up.
Why would it even be a discussion?
Yeah, I don't know.
Okay, so
he
are you telling me?
Panel that.
Why is it a discussion? You tell Jim Harbaugh yes.
Yes.
Are you certain that Sharon Moore is coming back to the with the national championship team? They've already lost they already had their best player decommit.
I saw that.
That running back.
Was there a running back?
Yep.
I thought a defensive back. But
right,
their highest
I mean,
rated
and there's
recruit.
guys are jumping off the platform huge in Alabama.
They are.
Yeah.
Yes, they are.
Did you guys see that Judkins went to Ohio State?
Yes, I did.
That guy can play.
Yeah.
I don't understand how you couldn't keep him in the building in Ole Miss.
I don't get it at all.
I mean,
they must have just
backed up the wagon for him because he's a difference maker in his own.
Yeah.
I mean, he could have a legendary game against Michigan,
right.
240 yards and 4 touchdown kind of game.
And I think that Henderson dude's coming back too for them.
They lost some people. They got some people. Yeah. Bill O'Brien's going to be the OC there.
I saw that.
I don't know if
I'm
good.
At Ohio State.
Thank you.
I know.
That
I'm
works
looking at
at Ohio State.
Yes.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Just announced yesterday, I believe. Yeah.
The biggest brain fog for me on this coaching carousel is Vrabel. How is Vrabel? I mean, like
not snapped up.
No.
Oh.
I mean, somebody said, he's always kind of been under the radar, and look for the Eagles to announce him as the head coach, this week, because he fixes everything at Philadelphia.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah, you wouldn't have seen that.
No, you would not have seen that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, as soon as he became available, I would have fired the coach at New Orleans after that debacle at the end of the season with Jameis Winston. And I would have said, no, Vrabel. If Vrabel tells you to take a knee, you're going to take a knee.
According to, I saw the press conference. Mickey Loomis, who's been the GM at the Saints forever, is like,
he's a good coach.
We had 3 bad years with Peyton, and we think we know what we're doing. Maybe you do know what you're doing. I thought one of the other interesting things that I saw is the Bears are not getting rid of Eberflus, but they're going to probably hire Cliff.
Yeah, I heard that. I was going to bring that up.
That is smart.
Especially if Caleb's coming there.
That's right.
Package deal.
USC.
Package deal.
Yeah.
Yeah,
because he had initially said he didn't want to go to Chicago. I think
Kingsbury.
Williams.
Caleb Williams. Well, he was. Well, remember I said on Twitter he was liking people saying that Chicago might not have the first pick, and then he liked that. It's like yeah. So I don't know, man.
Have you ever seen the pictures of the apartment that he has in L.A.?
No.
No,
look it up.
I'm sure it's.
I don't know if you'll go wow more than Jared Goff's girlfriend. Wow, look at that apartment.
Sean McVay's wife, yes. But yeah, I mean, it is. It's going to be an interesting off season. But I definitely think Belichick's going to the Falcons. I think he can work with Arthur Blank, and why would you not want to coach in that division?
Well, it's not that.
I mean you're going to win that division.
No, the first question I have for Arthur Blank is who's our quarterback?
Who's our quarterback?
Yeah, who's our quarterback?
Yes. All right,
and I'm sure that's being talked about.
So is it
maybe at this
moment? Is it Joe Flacco?
Justin Fields?
Is it Jimmy Garoppolo? I don't know if Justin Fields. Statistically, he's worse than Ritter. Statistically. In every category, Justin Fields is worse than Desmond Ridder. That scares the hell out of me if you're like, we're going to bring in Justin Fields and solve all our quarterback problems.
And you're going to have to pay him.
Yeah, you're going to have to pay him. That is the issue. The only thing that's attractive about the kind of player Justin Fields is on that turf, indoors. I mean, that's going to make him.
Who's the O coordinator? Are you talking about it? Is it who's the
McDaniel?
Yeah. Is it McDaniel? Well, McDaniel was a good O coordinator. There's no doubt about it.
I mean, he did great for you.
He had Tom Brady for a lot of those years. So do you bring in Garoppolo with McDaniel? That worked out so well in L.A. In Vegas.
I don't think Garoppolo is an answer to anybody's problems at all.
I don't know. Mason Rudolph.
Yeah.
I don't know.
A lot of retreads out there.
There are, yeah.
But Flacco,
Geno Smith,
yeah. I mean, there's a lot of guys out there that'll be hitting the open market, but maybe you can make a deal. get the
Gardner
next
Minshew. Yeah, it's not a bad.
Yeah. I mean, I thought he played well this year. And get him in.
No, that's a good
It it is time for the Fick & Sons High School Sportscape Show. Fick & Sons proudly supporting all Northern Michigan student athletes. For all your propane needs, contact Fick & Sons. Local, competitive, reliable, fickandsons.com. Joining Rich Calkins and Jerry Coyne is James Cook from the Traverse City Record Eagle. There you go. That should be better, Rich. James, how are you?
Doing well. How are you doing?
Thank you so much. We're good. What's on your schedule today?
Tonight I'll be going to the Elk Rapids Charlevoix basketball game, which is a big game in the Lake Michigan Conference because Charlevoix is tied in the loss column for the lead with St. Francis.
I'm sorry. Say that again. It's the Elk Rapids Charlevoix game.
Yep.
Okay.
Charlevoix at Elk Rapids. Yep.
All right,
Charlevoix is
gotcha.
4-1 in the Lake Michigan, and St. Francis is just a half a game ahead of them, tied in the loss column at 5-1. And Elk Rapids is one of those teams that is 3-2, so they're there as well. So it's a big game for both teams. It's also Elk Rapids is doing their Hall of Fame induction, including current NFL Denver Broncos tight end Adam Troutman, and he'll be there at the game, signing autographs for everybody and
Very cool.
doing all that kind of stuff among a bunch of other.
I remember when B.J. Armstrong was inducted into the Brother Rice Hall of Fame. He didn't show up.
Oh, seriously?
No,
oh my God!
His parents came in and did it for him. I'm like,
man.
what the hell, man?
Right. Oh. No, that's a great matchup, James. Also, do you know originally St. Francis was scheduled to play at Grayling tonight, but that's been rescheduled. Do you know why that is, James?
I'm not sure exactly. I think that it may be that because St. Francis had rescheduled, I think the Boyne game that got snowed out a while back, so maybe they didn't want to play that many games in 1 week.
Right.
Hey, somebody asked me that question, James, and maybe you know the answer. Is there a limit to how many games a basketball team can play in 1 week period?
I think it's 4. I think the most that they're allowed to squeeze in is 4 when you do rescheduling and stuff like that. But I don't know if there's a hard, fast rule on that.
Because
most teams just don't want to play any more than that.
No, I get it. But like the hockey showcase that covered, like hockey teams will end up playing 3 or 4 games in a weekend.
Right.
And it just funny to me that hockey can do whatever they want, or maybe there isn't a hard and fast rule, and it's just kind of an unwritten rule, like baseball and beaning.
Yeah, with hockey, I think it's 3 or 4 games is the most you can play in a week. So if a lot of times if they're doing those big like 8-team tournaments where you're going to play 3 games in 3 days, like that's all they do that week.
Okay.
Maybe they'll have another game earlier in the week, like on Tuesday or something. But
that's fine.
A lot of times the big tournaments, and more commonly is teams playing in those little 4-team tournaments on a weekend, or the ones where you just bring up 4 teams and you just switch opponents. So you play, Friday, Saturday, and then they can have another game like on Tuesday or Wednesday or something. They have 3 games in a week.
When we played in the Catholic League playoffs one year, we ended up playing 4 games in 4 days.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
So, because somebody asked me that question, I go, well, that happened once that I can remember. But I didn't know if and maybe the rules had changed back then. They probably didn't even care about, 7 days in a row, you're good to go.
And now with playing 22 regular season games, you got more games to squeeze in.
Exactly.
But
and teams having to kind of really kind of finagle things with being able to find officials to reschedule games and stuff too. So you're kind of at the mercy there of when you can reschedule these games. So sometimes it's going to be, I've seen a couple times already where basketball teams have been playing 3 games in 3 nights. Just because of having to reschedule a game.
Well, yeah, that's going to happen for the next couple of weeks.
Yes, exactly. And that's why, like Wes, we had 1 game last week. We have 1 game this week.
Yeah, and so you're going to end up having a couple of weeks coming up where you got 3 games in the week.
Yes, exactly. Because the following week we play a game Friday night, then we play Saturday morning in the Cadillac Showcase. So there's going to be, like you said, when we start backfilling some of these games that have been
it's going to make it tough for us to cover some of these girls' games.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
So, James, also in the Big North this week, or tonight specifically, West travels to take on Gaylord, and then TC Central travels down to Cadillac, try to hand the Cadillac Vikings their first loss on the season.
Yeah, that's a big one for both of these teams to stay right in there. Yeah. TC West has only got one loss in the league so far,
right.
So they need this one to stay in there with Cadillac, and they're going to be rooting for TC Central, I think, in this one for sure, to knock off Cadillac and help them out.
Well, the Ribel brothers, Anthony Ribel's younger brother, is starting to play some pretty decent basketball, so this could get interesting for them.
Yeah. I think, obviously they're playing much better with Anthony Ribel back. He adds a lot to the team. Scoring, he's a much better defender than he was a few years ago, and just a kind of a calm leading influence too on that team.
Yeah, the game doesn't get ahead of him.
Jack Hogan didn't help, but they've brought up Ethan Rademacher from the JV team, and he's been doing a lot of fourth or fifth quarter minutes to kind of help out there with another kind of ball handler, point guard in the backcourt.
Yeah, West handled Gaylord pretty easily last time out,
right.
Rich. Now they got to play there.
Always a tough place to play.
Yeah.
Calls tend to go the home team's way, and that's what you expect. But yeah, we had a lead there last year, end up losing it towards the end, and it's always a tough place to play in Gaylord.
Yeah, well, the Gilo kid can fill it up, and they've got some other players that can score some points too. Gilo's picked up a couple of college offers here in the last few weeks. So we know he's a talented kid.
Yeah, he's definitely trying to get into D1 from what I understand. I don't know where that's going to be, but
right. Yeah, definitely. Yeah, he is definitely a good ball player for sure.
He can score.
Yeah.
I don't know. He's like all these kids in high school that we talk about.
Right.
You're going to have to make some body changes.
Play defense, and
What?
The game in college changes just a little bit.
I can't get my 20 if I don't have the rock.
That's right. No, that's true.
What else has got caught your eye this weekend, James?
There's a lot of pretty good solid games tonight. East Jordan at Boyne City should be a decent one in the Lake Michigan Conference. You've got the Manton boys are bringing in Houghton Lake. Lake Leelanau St. Mary against McBain Northern Michigan Christian should be a good one. Brethren Mesick should be a pretty good game too. Brethren has been playing pretty well this year in the West Michigan D League. And then you've got Bel Air going to Ottaway. Should be a pretty good one as well in boys. For the girls, you've got Ludington coming to Traverse City Central tonight. You've got Kingsley playing Benzie Central, which should be a really nice matchup for both of those pretty quality teams there. You've got Johannesburg Lewiston playing Gaylord St. Mary, which is always a big rivalry game.
It's always, big game. Usually it's a pink out game for breast cancer awareness. Going back to Benzie Central, are the boys playing tonight? Because they're playing really good basketball.
They played last night.
How did
they played last night and won.
Oh, yeah? Who'd they win? Who'd they beat?
I'm trying to think of who it was off the top of my head. Sutton's Bay.
Okay.
I think.
What did they? I think they do. They have they lost a game or only one?
Benzie?
Yeah.
I can't remember exactly off the top of my head, but they've been doing really well. They've got a pretty balanced team. I mean, they've got Jackson Childers who can light it up on any given night. And averages, I would say, probably close to 20 points or so. But they've gotten a lot of other contributions, from Josh Gray and Andrew Grayson Converse, and Miles Pritchett. One of their bigs inside has really gotten a lot better over the last couple of seasons. So they're one of those teams that has been doing pretty well, and they've got a pretty good depth. They haven't lost yet in the Northwest Conference, but they're 8-2 overall.
8-2.
Okay, thank you.
And Lake hasn't lost in the league yet either.
Yeah, I saw that some of the rankings now are starting to come out where, past the midway point in January, and that's when AP polls and things like that start coming out. And obviously in Division I, Cadillac's get some honorable mention. You know, it's very obviously, JC, as you know, they're just behind Brother Rice there in some of the honorable mention stuff. Brother Rice is
lost 5 in a row.
Oh, have they really? But of course, that schedule they play is just brutal.
Yeah, but they've lost 5 in a row, and it's this kid who had been suspended for Orchard Lake St. Mary's is back in the lineup, and this is another kid. Their junior guard, his name escapes me right now, is probably the odds-on favorite to win Mr. Basketball as a junior.
Okay.
So already have offers from Michigan State, everybody. And I saw this kid play last year. He is the real deal. He beat Brother Rice by himself, and those guys had 3 guys that all went D1 last year. And Orchard Lake St. Mary's has got an outstanding team this year. Catholic Central's really good. UAD's fantastic. They were ranked number 2, right behind Cass Tech in Detroit.
Mm-hmm.
So a lot of really good basketball teams going on downstate. And you're right, we talked to Coach Benzenberg about this, and he mentioned on this past Saturday show that a lot of people are going, well, they're pretty good in D2. Let's see how they do in D1. He said it's kind of put a chip on the shoulder of his players. He said,
Sure.
They have a pretty easy district this year, unlike last year.
Last year was a brutal
Last year's
one.
district
That was the district of death.
There's no doubt about it. They have a very reasonable district this year, but then, boom, into the regionals, it's going to be on. But, you play each game at a time,
right,
and you never know who you're going to end up with.
Yeah, so true. Yeah, James?
Yeah, I mean, look at the district matchups. Yeah, so they're in a different district than Central and West?
Yeah. Yes.
Well, that's
they're heading south.
Yep.
And Central and West are going to stay up north.
Yeah, they play like Bay City Western, and so they've got some some really easy teams, at least on paper, teams that you would expect. They are hands down favorite on paper to win their district.
Yeah.
So, and last year they had Ludington and McBain. They had a brutal district last year.
I mean, there were like 3 undefeated teams in that district last year.
Ludington.
It was the most amazing district I've ever seen before.
And obviously the competition is completely ramped up in D1 across the state. But we'll see what happens. All they can do is play the teams in front of them, and they've got an interesting mix of scoring, and they play great defense. And if they found some guy to come off the bench and give them real minutes, Cadillac will be interesting.
Yeah, those James, the McBain boys, they've got them ranked. AP's got them ranked 4th in Division III with a 7-1 record. That's just continues to be a program that's really solid year in and year out.
Yeah, they've been great for most of the last decade.
Yeah.
Maybe even 2 decades. And Bruce Copeman does a really good job down there. Helps when you have a 6'9" kid in the middle. But they have some other good players that they've developed on that team. 1 or 2 of them were ones you looked at a couple years ago and didn't think that they were going to be this good, and they've really kind of blossomed into pretty good players. So you've also got Lake City against McBain on the girls' side playing tonight, which is a huge rivalry between those schools. I mean, those towns are like 10 miles apart, and so that's always kind of a big rivalry there. Lake City girls have been doing some really good things this season. They just beat Manton, who was ranked in the top 10, I think, in Division III, and Lake City beat them pretty handily earlier this week.
Yeah. And I see the Roscommon girls tonight. They're hosting Pine River. Do you know much about the Pine River team? We know that Roscommon girls team is really good.
I don't. Both of those schools are just kind of a little bit outside of what we cover in our coverage area. So aside from when they run into some of the other Highland Conference teams that we do cover, like Lake City or McBain.
Roscommon boys have been playing pretty good.
Well, that's good. That's MJ Ewald. This has been a longtime coach at Roscommon for the boys.
Yep.
This is going to be his final year after, I think he's been there 30 years.
Wow.
I think, JC. Yeah. So he's certainly
looking to send him out on a high note.
His dues, yeah.
Mm-hmm. St. Francis, are they on tap tonight?
They had that game scheduled.
Yeah, they're.
Oh, that's the one. So,
yeah.
but so they're not playing, or they are playing Boyne. Huh?
That's what's listed as St. Francis at Grayling. They played Boyne a couple nights ago. They played like back-to-back games.
Oh, so that's why I didn't know if they were okay. Right. So yeah.
Clear the week.
Yeah, I don't think you'd
So
sub in another
that's
team.
why
Yeah.
they moved that one.
Okay.
You've got the Bay Reps girls hockey team. That the new team this year.
Yep.
They're hosting a showcase tournament today, and I think that goes on tomorrow too. Yeah, I think it goes on tomorrow at Center Ice. So that'll be a bunch of the top girls hockey teams in the state playing at Center Ice this weekend.
Did I see that they won a showcase last week, James? Or maybe not a showcase.
I wouldn't be surprised because they've been doing really well to start off this season. They're ranked as one of the top couple teams in the state.
Yeah, whether it was a showcase they won or they beat somebody of big, a big name girls program downstate. I'm like, wow, because I had just heard about it from you a couple weeks ago. I'm like, look at those girls in their first year. They that coach has gotten them together. They obviously had a lot of experience playing with boys and in travel teams, but good for them.
Yeah, they haven't shied away from playing anybody. I know they've got like Cranbrook Kingswood on their schedule a couple times.
Yeah,
they're traveling to go play the big teams.
That's I was going to say that's legendary in its own self. Speaking of hockey, how did the showcase go last week?
I'm not even sure. I didn't cover that one.
Oh, I thought you were going. That was the only thing we were going to have because of all the snow.
Yeah. Brendan went to that one.
Oh, okay.
So, yeah, I ended up just doing the story on all the postponements and cancellations and when games are getting moved to and all that, and then had the weekend off. So I just enjoyed watching the Lions and with some friends, and then I'm actually going down to Detroit this weekend to go to the Lions game. So
are you really?
We'll see. Maybe I have my voice back by next Friday.
Oh, that's awesome, James.
Yeah. Did you pull a press pass?
No, I did not. A friend of mine has season tickets, and he had one that he wasn't accounted for, so I was able to buy a ticket from him.
Because I have to be down there.
Very
Part of me was thinking, like, I wonder if the last minute, can I get a press pass?
Right.
Yeah, probably last minute. I don't know. I think their deadline for credentials is usually the Monday before the game.
Yeah.
So you get in there pretty far ahead of time.
Well, especially if you haven't covered a game for them all year in the press box. That's usually a downfall.
Right. Who's this guy?
I'm your affiliate in Northern. Yeah,
that's right.
Thank you. Yeah, call Dan Campbell. He knows me.
That's right. Yeah, that's
right. Yeah, well, good for you, James. Have you? I was going to say you've been to Ford Field before, but never for a Detroit Lions playoff game. I know that.
Yeah.
No, never for a playoff game before. I wasn't able to go last week, and so I'm like, well, now I have to go. So I wrote a column about that in this morning's paper, and just about kind of some of the background on why I'm a big Lions fan and kind of have been for a long time. And,
right.
Well, fantastic stuff. Then I guess we won't. You guys won't be calling him tomorrow.
No, we will not. Yeah, but no, that's very cool, James. Enjoy every moment of it, bud.
Yeah, I hope so. This weekend we'll have the first installment of our area basketball leaders. Will be in Sunday's paper.
Okay, good.
So that should get a lot of eyeballs. People looking at those stats and everything. Right. I'm hoping to get it as complete as possible, but the first one of the season is usually missing some teams here and there.
But that's a lot of information, trying to tabulate it, get it all together, and put it out there. That's cool. You do that.
James Cook.
Yeah, like 50-some teams. Yeah.
James Cook from the Traverse City Record Eagle. Thanks for joining us on the Fick and Sons High School Scoreboard Show. Enjoy your Lions victory.
I hope so. Thank you.
All right.
Thanks, James.
We want to thank the folks at Fick and Sons for providing this platform for high school sports. They are local, competitive, reliable propane provider, but so much more than just propane. They also provide home heating fuel for residential and commercial customers from Charlie's Country Corner right off of 4 Mile Road on I-75 outside of Grayling. That includes Arby's, a convenience store, the Super 8 by Wyndham, and a full-service diesel garage. In Roscommon, they have the Sunny Spot Fuel and Convenience Store. In Kalkaska, stop into the Bear Lakes Marathon. They have fantastic pizza there. In Whittemore, it's the Crossroads Citgo, offering gas to include diesel, racing fuel, snacks, drinks, and an excellent deli. They also provide propane cylinder refills and exchanges. Fick & Sons, expanding their services throughout northern Michigan. Check out everything they have to offer by going to fickandsons.com. Thanks for joining us here on Up North Sports Radio. Back to CBS.
800-898-6155. 800-898-6155 to save 20% on your plan. That's carshow.com/Levin or 800-898-6155 to save 20%.
Advertisement sponsored by Allied Injury Group, not available in all states. This important message from Allied Injury Group reminds you that if you or someone you love was injured in an accident that wasn't your fault, you deserve financial compensation for your medical expenses, lost wages, pain, and suffering. Don't rely on insurance companies to look out for you. If you haven't spoken to an attorney, call our legal experts now. Work accident, truck accident, collision with an uninsured driver, or a slip and fall. Allied Injury Group has helped clients win hundreds of millions of dollars in damages. They're available 24/7 to take your call and fight for you. Remember, if you or someone you love suffered injuries in an accident that wasn't your fault, like being struck by a drunk driver, a collision with an 18-wheeler, were a victim of workplace negligence or more, get the financial compensation you deserve. Call Allied Injury Group for a free consultation.